Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the money market model. So just to start, let's talk about what the money market model is. The money market model is particularly concerned with interest rates and how they are determined. And I guess the key concept of this video is going to be to understand the relationship between supply and demand for money and short-term interest rates. So let's go right into money demand. What is money demand? Well, the demand for money is the amount of cash and the amount of money in checking accounts that people hold. One of the most important things about money is that it's the most liquid asset, but it doesn't pay any interest. So that comes with an intrinsic opportunity cost. People must make a choice between holding cash or holding T-bills that pay a nominal interest rate. The higher the nominal interest rate is, the higher the opportunity cost is of holding money. And this kind of goes without saying that if you have a higher nominal interest rate, people are going to hold less money because they'd rather be investing their money in the T-bills and vice versa. So let's talk about the money demand curve. It's downward sloping. And why is that? Well, if the nominal interest rate is high, people will not be willing to hold much cash and vice versa. What causes a shift in the money demand curve? Well, there's two main things, GDP and price level. So if we have a GDP increase, that's going to cause the demand curve to shift right. And the same thing happens with price level. If the price level increases, that's going to cause a shift right. If we get a change in the nominal interest rate, this will cause a movement along the demand curve. So just to illustrate that real quick, I have a money demand curve here. But now let's say that the real GDP and price level increase. That will cause a shift to the right, like I said earlier. And once again, if the nominal interest rate increased, that would just cause a movement along the curve. So now let's talk about the money supply curve. The money supply curve is vertical. The reason why is because central banks have direct control over the supply of money. So it's not determined by interest rates. So as interest rates go up or down, the money supply curve isn't really going to shift left or right. Instead, the central bank's policies are going to determine whether the money supply curve is going to shift right or left. So now let's combine the curves in a quick example. So what would happen if the central bank increased the supply of money at the same time the price level falls? Well, let's kind of break this down into a couple steps here. So on the left, we have our basic money supply and money demand curve and an equilibrium interest rate right here. And I've modeled the exact same thing on the right here, for example. But let's go into what happens when the central bank increases the supply of money first. So that's going to cause a shift right in the money supply curve. And we can see that illustrated by the money supply curve here. But what would happen if at the same time, the price level falls? Well, as you can see, as indicated by the arrows, we have a new money demand curve here on the left. So as the price level falls, we get a shift left in the money demand curve. So as we can see, the equilibrium interest rate has gone from up here to down here. So the answer to this question is, if the central bank increases the supply of money at the same time that the price level falls, we will get a decrease in the interest rate. Here are the sources that I use in my presentation. Thanks for watching.